My father raised his glass in front of 80 guests, leaned toward the microphone, and smiled. My daughter, Brianna, inherits the company. $230 million. Then his eyes found me. Chloe, you're lucky I still let you use the name. Most men would have cut you off years ago. For a second, the entire ballroom went silent. Then my mother laughed. Not a nervous laugh. Not a polite laugh. A bright, practiced laugh that traveled across the room as if she'd been waiting 35 years to make that sound. I didn't cry. I didn't argue. I simply placed my glass on the table, picked up my coat, and walked out while 80 people watched the unwanted daughter leave her own family's celebration. I thought that was the end. I was wrong. Because the very next morning, a lawyer stood outside my apartment holding something sealed inside a clear plastic evidence bag. A 35-year-old hospital bracelet. My name wasn't on it. He looked at me and said only one thing. That's why we're here. My name is Chloe Owen. I'm 35 years old, and if you've ever been treated like you were lucky just to belong to your own family, type bracelet in the comments and subscribe. And while you're there, tell me your city and local time. I read the comments. Now let me take you back to where this really began. I was 10 years old. It was a Tuesday, the day our school sent report cards home in sealed brown envelopes. I had earned straight A's. I carried that report card all the way home like it was made of glass. I remember practicing what I would say to my father. I wanted to hand it to him casually. Because in our house, asking for praise was almost worse than failing. My little sister Brianna got home first. She was 7 and had a B+ in one subject. My father held her report card toward the kitchen light as if it were a stock certificate. He read every teacher comment aloud. He said the word effort 3 times. Then he took my report card. He glanced at the A's, not even for 5 seconds. Then he placed it on the counter beside the mail. Don't fish for praise, Chloe. It's unbecoming. That evening, Brianna's report card went onto the refrigerator under a lighthouse-shaped magnet. Mine went into a drawer with the takeout menus. My mother stood in the doorway. She saw everything. She dried her hands on a towel and said nothing. That was my childhood in one sentence. In the Owen family, love was something you displayed, and someone else's name was always the one on the shelf. So I learned. I stopped asking for praise, I stopped expecting fairness, and I became useful, careful, excellent. I convinced myself that if I became good enough, successful enough, invisible enough, eventually there would be room for me. There never was. But that training became useful. Today, I'm a senior claims adjuster specializing in large losses. For 13 years, I've worked at Hartwell Mutual in Columbus. When a house burns down or a pipe destroys a family's first floor, I'm the person who walks through the wreckage with a clipboard and figures out what really happened. People think my job is about money. It isn't. It's about evidence. Every person who files a claim tells a story. My job is to find the exact point where the story stops matching the evidence. I photograph everything twice. I keep copies of copies. My friend Tessa once told me, Chloe, you read people like water damage. You always find where it started. I used to think I learned that at work. I didn't. I learned it at home. Because in my family, the official story almost never matched the room I was standing in. When I was 18, my college fund disappeared. My father called it a restructuring. He said the money had been redirected toward Brianna because she was at a critical age. I was starting at Ohio State, so I took out loans. I worked 25 hours a week at a coffee shop. Then during my sophomore year, I came up $4,800 short on tuition. I sat in a stairwell and did the math again and again. Then the bursar's office told me my balance had been paid through something called the Buckeye Futures Hardship Fund. I had never applied. I couldn't even find an application. I wrote a thank you letter anyway. Dear benefactor, I mailed it to the